Good evening. Welcome to news on Omalita Radio 91.1 FM, your number one development radio station. I am Rosemary Mwabasi Ibeibo. The headlines. Expert debunks claim that inorganic fertilizers makes crops less nutritious. UNICEF Dialogue, IMO, others push for better child nutrition awareness. Former Minister of Foreign Affairs urges collective responsibility, rejects regional rivalry in tackling insecurity. ECOWAS Parliament seeks stronger MSME support, calls for end to cross-border trade barriers. Now the news and details. The debate over the safety and nutritional value of organically and conventionally grown crops has continued among consumers, with many believing the food produced with organic fertilizers is less healthy. However, a lecturer and researcher in the Department of Geography and Environmental Management in Imo State University, Dr. Faisal Emetuma, says there is no scientific evidence to support that claim. Speaking during Omalicha Defense Policy Program, Central State Special Edition on Feeding Imo in a Changing Climate, Challenges, Policies and Solution, Dr. Emetuma explained that both organic and inorganic fertilizers have important roles in agriculture when applied appropriately and according to recommended practices.
Majority of the food that we eat in this part of the country is brought in from other parts of the country, like from the north. If you go to the north, they use most of the beans you eat or yams that you buy from the market, they are planted with fertilizer. How many people even plant yams in the east here? So sometimes this argument about use of fertilizer is just absurd because, like I said, and these things are true. All these things are just, personal opinion about issues. Our soil system here is coastal plain sands. It's weak. It's susceptible to leaching by the heavy rainfall. It can wash away nutrients, natural nutrients in the soil. So you find that most of the time, you need to improve the soil by adding.
Dr. Emetuma has clarified the distinction between genetically improved crops and genetically modified crops, noting that the two are often confused by members of the public. He explained that genetically improved crops are developed through conventional breeding to enhance desirable traits such as higher yields and disease resistance, while genetically modified crops are developed using biotechnology to introduce specific genetic characteristics. He urged Nigerians to rely on scientific evidence when discussing agricultural technologies, stressing that improving productivity remains essential to achieving food security. Participants at the UNICEF Media Dialogue held in Enugu as part of activities marking World Breastfeeding Week 2026 with the theme Breastfeeding for a Sustainable Start in Life, Strengthen What Works, have called for increased awareness on exclusive breastfeeding and child nutrition during a UNICEF-supported media dialogue in Enugu. The engagement brought together journalists, health experts, and stakeholders to promote improved breastfeeding practices and address child malnutrition in the region. The participants emphasized the importance of exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, describing it as essential for boosting children's immunity and providing vital nutrients. They also urged the media to help dispel misconceptions, promote nutrition education at the grassroots, and support accountability in maternal and child health programs. Representatives at the dialogue pledged continued collaboration with health authorities and development partners to strengthen child nutrition campaigns across the Southeast. Retired Major General and former Minister of Foreign Affairs Ike Omar Sanda Nwachukwu has called for greater community participation and cooperation among stakeholders in addressing insecurity in the Southeast, stressing that security cannot be achieved through the effort of security agencies alone. Speaking at the Southeast Regional Security Summit held in Umuahia, Abia State, Nwachukwu, who was also a former military governor of the old Imo State comprising Imo, Abia, and parts of present-day Ebonyi State, said parents, traditional rulers, religious leaders, youth organizations, professional groups, market unions, and community leaders all have important roles to play in maintaining peace and security. According to him, communities must become active partners rather than spectators, noting that locally generated intelligence and public trust remain critical tools in preventing crime. While reflecting on recent expansion of Nigeria's military formations and the absence of a divisional headquarters in Southeast, he cautioned against viewing security matters through the lens of regional rivalry. According to him, decisions on military structures should be guided by professional assessment, emerging security realities, and national cohesion rather than competition among regions. Nwachukwu also called for stronger collaboration among Southeast state security agencies and community institutions through intelligence sharing, coordinated response, and sustained engagement. He maintained that lasting peace goes beyond military cooperation military operations, stressing that development, employment opportunities, accountable leadership, and public confidence are essential to building a secure society. Also speaking at the summit, the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, described security as the bedrock of economic development, noting that no society can thrive where life and property are under constant threat. Uzodinma, who was represented by the Deputy Governor, Dr. Chinyere Okomaru, highlighted effort of his government towards stabilizing the economy and security of the state. He pledged to support all efforts aimed at protecting the lives and property of citizens of the state.
He has done is strengthening community vigilance plus town hall unions, where they work hand in hand with the police and the DSS. We have also looked at neighborhood watch programs that make you to realize and watch your neighbors. And places like markets are being advised to set up in small groups, WhatsApp groups, whereby they can share information. Of course, we all know that information is power. He has done a lot of programs to make sure that the restive nature of
According to Uzodinma, the state has made progress in ensuring that youth in the state are being trained in various skills and knowledge that will help them to be meaningfully engaged in the state. The governor canvassed a better policing equipment, including patrol vehicles, functional police stations equipped with a state-of-the-art communication gadgets, closed-circuit television in major towns and cities across the region, while appealing to security agencies to work in synergy with local communities. electricity supply yet to be fully restored across Aba rising fenced area following the disruption in natural gas supply that forced the shutdown of the 188 megawatt geometric power plant in Osisioma Industrial Layout, Abia State. The blackout began on Friday evening, August 1st, 2026, after a sudden drop in gas pressure from the plant's supplier left the facility unable to operate its turbines. The managing director of Aba Power, Ugo Opiebe, confirmed the development, apologizing to customers and explaining that the reduced gas pressure was caused by technical challenges affecting the supplier's infrastructure. He said that the gas pressure was not sufficient to power the plant's turbines, which are responsible for generating electricity for the Aba ring-fenced area, covering 9 local government areas in Aba, Abia State. Aba Power, in an update on Sunday, August 2nd, 2026, said repair works on the affected gas supply infrastructure were progressing, with expectations that full generation and distribution will resume once normal gas pressure is restored. The company has not announced full restoration of electricity supply, leaving residents and businesses in the affected area awaiting the completion of the repair works. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has taken another step towards the 2027 general election by making public the details of candidates presented by political parties for the upcoming polls. Among the candidates whose details have been displayed are President Bola Tinubu of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Peter Obi of the NDC, and Falalu Bello, the presidential candidate of the People's Redemption Party (PRP), one of the smaller parties in the race. The publication is expected to allow citizens, political parties, and other stakeholders to examine the information submitted by aspirants and raise objections where necessary in line with electoral guidelines. The move signals the beginning of a more detailed phase of election preparation as political parties intensify mobilization and candidates position themselves for the contest. INEC says transparency and public access to candidate information remain key parts of ensuring a credible electoral process ahead of the 2027 election. You're listening to the news on Omaricha Radio, 91.1 FM or Were. I'm Rosemary Nwabasi Bebu. More when we come back from the break. Do stay with us.
When news breaks, Omalicha 91.1 breaks in.
I admit the decision we impose extra burden on the masses of our people. I feel your pain.
Reliable.
I disagree with them. What they're actually preaching is the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is accepting wrongdoing, accepting what is unacceptable. That is using God's name in vain.
And accurate.
I had the opportunity to speak with the president on the issues of security and insecurity in Imo State.
Listen to Omalicha News 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday for the latest local and international news on Omalicha 91.1 Owerri.
All these institutions, we need to reform. They need purging, overhauling, and reformation.
Omalicha News, news you can trust.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the news on Omaricha Radio, 91.1 FM or Were. I'm Rosemary Mwabasi Ibebo. On the international scene, the Parliament of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has called on member states to strengthen support for micro, small, and medium enterprises by eliminating barriers that continue to impede cross-border trade across the region. The call was made during a regional parliamentary meeting on enhancing the competitiveness of MSMEs. Lawmakers noted that despite the critical role small businesses play in driving economic growth, creating jobs, and reducing poverty, many entrepreneurs still struggle with excessive border delays, multiple checkpoints, inconsistent customs procedures, and limited access to finance. The parliament urged government to fully implement ECOWAS trade protocols, harmonize regulations, simplify customs process, and invest in transport and digital infrastructure to facilitate the free movement of goods and services. It also advocates improved access to affordable credit, technology, and business support services, especially for women and young-owned enterprises. According to the lawmakers, addressing these challenges will strengthen regional integration, increase intra-West African trade, and position MSMEs to benefit more actively from opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area. The Parliament reaffirmed its commitment to working with member states and stakeholders to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive across the sub-region. And on sports, Nigeria's Super Falcons boosted their chances of reaching the knockout stage of the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations (WAFCON) with a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Zambia in a tense Group C encounter. The 9-time African champions bounced back from their opening defeat by Malawi with a determined display, as Captain Asisat Oshola scored the decisive goal in the opening minute of the match. Nigeria's challenge became tougher before halftime when defender Oluwatosin Demehin was sent off for a foul on Zimbabwe's Baba Banda, leaving the Super Falcons to play with 10 players for the remainder of the game. Despite being a player down, the Nigerian side stayed organized defensively and withstood sustained pressure from the Copper Queens to secure all the 3 points and keep their hopes for progressing to the quarterfinals alive. The result leaves Nigeria level on 3 points with Zambia in Group C, while Malawi remains top of the standings. The Super Falcons will now turn their attention to the final group match against Egypt, where a positive result could earn them a place in the knockout round as they continue their quest for another continental title. And that's the news on Omalicha Radio. If you do have an eyewitness report or wish to make inquiries, do reach out to our news desk on Omalicha Radio 91.1 FM via calls to 090-3067-0799. Thank you for listening. I'm Rosemary Mwabasi Ibebu. Good evening.
For effective advertising, event coverage development,